Hey, everybody, welcome to our live session today. We did this session this past Monday live on LinkedIn. And if you missed it, well, today's your lucky day because we're back. We're going to do it again. This is the truth behind selling from the stage. Now, like a lot of you, I work from home. My studio is in my home. I know a lot of you who are tuning in today are working from home. And today happens to be a day where we just happen to have construction going on. We're making some updates to our kitchen. And today was the only day that we could get the crew here. So if you hear some background noise, that's what it is. But we're going to persevere through anyway, because that's what we do. Okay, we're going to start a few seconds early here to give people a chance to log in and join us. And the reason we're doing this again today as a replay is because we did it on Monday, and then we had people that reached out to us afterwards and said, geez, I wish I would have been there because I would have liked to ask some questions. So today we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube, we are live on Instagram, and we are also live again on LinkedIn. So no matter where you're joining us from, if you have questions along the way, just go ahead and type them into the chat window and I'll be able to answer your questions. And if you're not with us live, that's okay. Watch the video and you can send your questions to us by email if you like. So today is really going to be designed for you if you are a speaker, a coach, a consultant, a nonfiction author, if you have a program to fill, if you've got a course to sell, if you've got an expertise that you want to market out there, if you've got a big story that you want to share to the world and you've got something to monetize as a result of that story, then you're in the right place today. So here's what we're going to cover today. Today is for you if you are a person who needs to sell your products and services and expertise when you speak, called selling from the stage. Now, the thing about selling from the stage is that it is a very misunderstood opportunity. And I'm going to talk to you about that. You see, I come from the professional speaking world. I've been in the professional speaking business for nearly 4 decades now. And I've done all the different kinds of speaking that there are to do, and I continue to do that. But the concept of selling from the stage is a very interesting concept, because there are so many people in the speaking business who don't really understand its power and actually feel like it's like a dirty word. You know, sometimes people in the speaking business think of selling from the stage as something you just don't do. It's a dirty word. It's a mean thing to do. It's an unprofessional thing to do. And this is the stigma that selling from the stage has generated over the years in the professional speaking world. But the reality is, selling from the stage is one of the biggest and most profitable and most exciting opportunities that you can pursue if you know a few things about how to do it. So today is about that. It's about taking this whole stigma of selling from the stage and turning it into an advantage for you. If you have a program to fill, a course to sell, an experience that you want to monetize, this is the right place for you. So here's how we're going to start. We're going to start by taking the world of speaking, and we're going to break it up into two main categories. The first category is going to be being paid to speak. So we'll call that speak for a fee. Now, I just want to remind you, if you're just tuning in, you're going to hear some background noise because like most of you, I'm in my home and we have some construction going on today that we weren't anticipating. There it is. And so I'm hoping that it's not going to be too distractive, but we're going to power through. So we're going to talk about speaking to be paid, speak to fee. Then we're going to take that same concept and we're going to break it up to another category called selling from the stage. And they are two profoundly different worlds. And I want to explain the fundamental differences between the two. So to understand the selling from the stage world, we really need to understand the speak for a fee world first. So the speak for a fee world is the typical scenario that you would expect, right? This is where you get paid to speak at an event, you go and speak, you get paid, and you leave and you go to the next event, and on you go. Now, that's what most people think about when they think about speaking. And when people come to me and they say, Steve, I want to be a speaker, I want to be paid to speak, this is the scenario they have in mind. Speak for a fee. Now, you can do well speaking for a fee. Yes, there is opportunity there. I have colleagues all around the world who make a significant, substantial, beautiful living in that space. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the speak to sell space. Here is the fundamental differences between those two worlds. Okay. So I'm going to put up a slide here and I want to explain the fundamental differences between the speak to sell and the speak to be paid. So we're going to take the differences and break them up into two main categories: barriers of entry and pay potential. So here's what that means. If we look at the speaker fee side of the game, the disadvantage, or one of the disadvantages to that side of the game, is that the barriers of entry are very high, which means on that side of the game, you're going to be competing with celebrities. You're going to be competing with people who are, multiple New York Times best-selling authors. You're going to be competing with people who have achieved some sort of earth-shattering, life-changing, jaw-dropping results somewhere. And it's a difficult side of the business to enter, because unless you have established some measure of knowledgeable authority, some measure of influence in your industry, some measure of celebrity, it's difficult to break into that side of the world. So in the speak for fee side of the speaking business, the barriers of entry are very high. Now, the next disadvantage to the speak for fee area, it's a speak for a fee model, is that the pay potential is relatively low as compared to speak to sell, which I'll explain in a moment. You see, when you are speaking for a fee, you're going to one speaking gig, you're getting your fee, you get that fee, then you go to the next, then you go to the next, then you go to the next, and this is how you build your business. Now, to make really big money in that area, this is where celebrity status comes in. This is where being a known entity in your field comes in. If you're going to command $50, $60, $100,000 per speech, that's what has to happen for you in advance. You need to already be a known entity. So to break into this field, you're going to need to start at a low fee, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, and some people never even get past that. So you're making your living a few $1,000s at a time, and as soon as something happens, like let's say a pandemic, then you are out of business. I've got colleagues all over the world who make a beautiful living speaking for a fee, and in March 2020, they were all out of business. No more income. Every event on the planet was canceled, and they literally had no more income. And so overall, the overall potential for pay is lower on the speak to fee side than it is on the speak to sell side. Now, conversely, if we're going to talk about speaking to sell, selling from the stage, the barriers of entry are quite low in comparison to speaker fee. You see, the reason is because if you have something to sell, and if you're a reasonably good speaker, then there are stages that are looking for you, and the barriers of entry are often much less significant than they are if you're expecting to be paid. Now, there are some barriers of entry. There's a lot of competition for people to get on those stages to sell their products and services and coaching programs. Some of those stages even ask you to pay to get on those stages. It's called pay to play. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes. But I want you to know for now that on the speak to sell side of the game, the barriers of entry are significantly lower than they are on the speaker fee side of the game. And again, conversely, the pay potential on the speak to sell side of the game is hugely more significant than it is on the speaker fee side of the game. Now, that doesn't mean that speaking to sell is without risk. Of course, there's risk involved, especially if you're in the pay to play world. So let's talk about that for a moment. I first discovered this, boy, it's got to be about 15, maybe more than that, 15, 16 years ago. I was at an event and somebody saw me speak, and they come up to me and they said, Steve, you would be great on our stage. And that's always a good thing for me to hear, because it means I'm going to get another gig from the one I just did. Steve, you would be great on our stage. And we have the best audience. It's a targeted audience, and every one of them is going to want to buy your stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, sign me up. I'm in. And then she said, and it's only $30,000 to be on the stage for 20 minutes. And I wasn't sure that I heard that. And so I thought she was paying me. And so 30 grand for 20 minutes. I said, okay, that's a good deal for me. I like that idea. And as the conversation started to go, I was starting to get the sense that she was expecting me to pay her $30,000 for 20 minutes on the stage. And I said, I don't know, man. I don't think you get this. I don't pay you. You pay me to get on your stage. But then over the next several years, I learned the value of selling from the stage and even paying to play. And we have paid, my wife Jane and I, we operate our business together. We have paid as much as $50,000 to be on the right stage in front of the right people. And we do that because if we can get in front of the right stage and in front of the right people, the pay potential for us is significantly more than getting on the stage. So when we do the pay for play piece, we're very selective, of course, about which stages we accept, but we look at that as kind of a cost of doing business. It's just like this. If you were on the speaker fee side, if you were a speaker who was going out there and being paid to speak, then chances are good over some years you would develop a relationship with an agent or a speakers bureau. Now, those folks are going to take 20 to 30, maybe even 35% of your fee. And that's just the cost of doing business. That's just the way it is. And so for paying to play on the stage, we consider that just a cost of business. So instead of paying an agent, we don't pay, we pay to get on the stage. And then the onus is on us. The potential to earn revenue is on us in terms of how well we deliver our content. So all of that to say this, when people come to me, and a lot do, and they say, Steve, I want to be a speaker and I want to be paid, they usually don't really understand exactly what the implications are or what side of the game they want to play on, because they don't understand both sides. So for you, if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you are anybody who has something to monetize, if you've got a coaching program, if you've got products or services, especially if they're higher end, $5, $10, $15, $20,000 packages, if you've got consulting packages, if you've got things like that that you want to monetize and sell when you speak, then by a mile, the best place for you is on the sell from the stage, the speak to sell side. But some certain things have to be in place first. So let me explain the problem, the challenges, the mistakes that most people make when they enter the sell from the stage world. Okay, so I want to start with this. I want to start with where we generally come from when we enter the speak to sell world. Here's what we found. Over our 40-some years, or my 40-some years in the speaking business, and Jane and I working with speakers, coaches, authors, consultants all over the world for the last 15, 20 years, what we've noticed is this. We've noticed that there are three primary motivators that cause us to do what we do. And here are the three primary motivators. And my guess is you're going to fit into one or more of these motivators. And the first one is called a mess. A mess is where you have experienced something big in your life, a big story, some sort of a catastrophic event, something that has set the trajectory of your life and who you have become. And it's a big thing. Now, I don't have a mess, but a lot of us have a mess. I've got clients who have lost limbs and who have been gang raped and who have lost family members and who have been born with debilitating illnesses and have accidents and all of these big things that have set the trajectory of who they have become. So maybe you have a mess, okay? But if you don't have a mess, then you might have one of these. And I call it a moment. A moment is a moment in time, or maybe a series of moments in time, where you realized what your gift was. This is me. I have that. I have a moment. I have a moment in time where I had this realization where I said, this is what I'm good at. I want to do this. I'm good at this. And maybe that's you. Maybe you have that moment in time, or a series of moments in time, when you said to yourself, this is what I want to do. Okay. And that moment has maybe, again, set the trajectory of where you have taken your life to some degree. So that may be you. But let's say that's not you. Let's say you don't have a mess and you don't have a moment. If you don't have a mess or a moment, my guess is you have a mission. A mission is where you have something bigger in this world that you want to evangelize. There's a change you want to make in this world. You have a cause that you're pursuing, and you want to leave something in this world better than it was when you found it. And so chances are good you have one or more of those. And when I present this to a live audience, I always ask the audience, you put up your hand if you see yourself somewhere in there. And in almost every case, pretty much everybody puts their hand up. So as entrepreneurs and professional speakers and aspiring speakers, we usually find ourselves in one or more of these places. So these are the primary motivators that we have noticed in working with our team, or working with our audience, our market, like you folks. Now what we do is this. Here's our next step. We take our mess, moment, or mission, and we take the lessons we've learned from the mess, all the things, the knowledge, the wisdom that we've experienced, that we put all that together. Same as for our moment. We have cultivated our skills. We have mastered our craft. We have curated knowledge. And we want to take all of that knowledge and skill and all of those lessons, and we want to, from there, create our message. And we bring our message to the world, and we say, hello, world. Let me share with you what I've learned from my mess. Let me share with you what I've learned from my moment. Let me share my mission with you. And we take that to the world. And what we're after is this. Ultimately, we're after one or more of three things. The first is we are either after influence, right? We want to have the potential to influence other people's decisions and the way they live their lives. We may also be after impact, which means we want somebody to change right there in front of us. We want somebody to have a new mindset, a new belief system, a new perspective, a new idea, something that they can go and change in their own lives. And generally, we're also interested in income. We want to earn some money while we're doing this. So what we do is we take the mess, moment, or mission. We take the lessons and the wisdom and the knowledge and the ideas that we've curated from our mess, moment, or mission. We create our message and we bring it to the world. Now, when I do this in front of a live audience, I ask the audience, put up your hand if that's you. Put up your hand if that's you. And as I'm speaking to you today, I just want you to consider, is that you? It makes sense, right? And if that's you, that's the problem. That's the first mistake we're making when we want to sell from the stage. And here's why. There's a number of reasons, but the two primary reasons are these. Number one is because that is what everybody's doing. That's what your competitors are doing. Everybody who's trying to sell from the stage, everybody who wants to get on the stage, especially in the early stages when we are aspiring to do these things, that's what we do. So that's the first problem. The other problem is the content of the message we're bringing. Now, let me explain what that means. If you're online with us, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Go to the chat window or the comments in whatever application you're on, and just type in the chat, and I'll see it on the screen. Just type what you think the most important job is of a speaker. When you get in front of the audience, what is the most important job for you? And I'm just going to keep moving forward. And if comments come in, that's great. And if not, that's okay too. But I want you to be thinking about this. The most important job you have as a speaker. Now, most people are going to say specific things. Here's what I get most often when I ask that question. My job is to educate the audience. Okay, I do not disagree with that. I often get my job is to inspire the audience. Okay, I don't disagree with that either. My job is to entertain the audience. I don't disagree with that either. But here's the mistake that so many make. They think this: if I get out there and if I educate, if I teach them really great stuff, if I inspire them to want to do more, and if I can make it funny and interesting, one of the most important jobs is to change mindsets. Okay, thanks. I just got from LinkedIn user, change mindsets is really critically important. And even changing mindsets is a good thing. But here's the thing, it's not enough. So I want to explain what is important for you to have, what important effects you need to have on an audience if you want to go through and actually monetize. So it looks like this here. Now, let's assume that it is a high ticket item that you're selling, a coaching program, an online program, a consulting program. This is primarily directed at high ticket items, okay? But it'll work for lower ticket items as well. So we're going to consider this. If you look at the bottom of the slide, your audience, if we take a look at all your audience members, are basically going to fall on somewhere into this graph. Some of them are going to be not interested right away, which means this: if you were to go out there and get on the stage or on the screen and just say, buy my stuff, most of your audience is going to be not interested. They're going to be a cold audience, particularly if it's an audience that you're not familiar with. They don't know who you are. You're one speaker at a large event and they don't have any background on you. They're not going to be interested right away. So our job is to get them from there. We have to start at I'm not interested. And then our job is to warm them up a little bit and get them to this point where they start thinking, okay, tell me a little bit more. That might be interesting. And then even that's not enough. We need to get them at some point all the way over to when can I start? So our job as a speaker is to change them from I'm not interested to when can I start? And so that's what we need to do. Now, a moment ago, I talked about the most important job as a speaker. And one person on LinkedIn said to change mindsets. Yes, some people are saying, I always hear these, to find a solution to their problems and challenges, Julie said. I'm going to talk about that. So Julie, let's just set that aside. I'm going to come back to that because that is the second biggest mistake that speakers make when they want to sell, is to find a solution for their problems and challenges. That is a most common belief. It's what I did for years. I'd get in front of the audience and I would say, look, if I can just find a solution to their problem, and if I can provide them with a solution to their problem, they're going to hire me. And the exact opposite happened, because Julie, when we solve their problem, they don't need us anymore. So I'm going to come back to that so thank you for that answer. So we need to get them from I'm not interested all the way over to when can I start? So here's what happens. Here's what we do, right? We talked about this. We want to educate, entertain, and inspire. Those are the most basic elements of being a speaker. And when, this is expected. If you can't educate, entertain, and inspire to a certain degree, then that's like the ground level. And if you can't do all of those things, then you're not really ready to be on the stage to begin with. So yes, we do those things, but you'll notice that when we educate, entertain, and inspire, you'll notice that it only brings us a short way. It doesn't even get us past cold, because what I've learned is if you educate, and that particularly means solving their problems. Let me teach you how to do this. When you do that, it barely gets them past cold, because you could say, let me teach you how to do this. Let me show you how to solve your problem. First do this, then do that, then do this other thing. And your audience goes, okay, cool. This is great. I'm going to go and try it. And they're not going to hire you. So then we got to take it to another level. Another level is this. We need to disrupt and compel. And this is what somebody else said earlier from LinkedIn, is change their mindsets. Yes, but we have to change their mindset a very specific way. What we want to do is challenge their current beliefs. We want to get them to reset their paradigms, reset their expectations, question everything some things that they knew to be true. We have to get the audience thinking, wow, I've never thought of it like that before. Maybe I got to do something different. And something has to shift in their mindset, in their belief systems, in their paradigms, and in their sense of truth. That's what disrupt means. So we need to disrupt their belief systems. Now that is a big step that most speakers have no idea how to do. But if you don't know how to disrupt their mindset, if you don't know how to get them to question what they think they know, then there's really no purpose for them to buy your programs or to hire you. Then we have the word compel there. Compel means disrupting their mindset isn't enough. There needs to be something in there to make them think, I have to do something. I got to get moving. Because folks, every single time that you present yourself to an audience, whether you're on a stage or on a screen, every single time, even if it's one-on-one with a prospect, you're positioning yourself in one of two ways. There are only two, and you are always positioning yourself in one of these. You're either positioning yourself as somebody they need or somebody they don't. And when you educate and entertain and inspire, you're positioning yourself as somebody they don't. And when you add into that disruption, you're moving them on just a little bit this side, but you're still somebody they don't need. When you start compelling them to, think, I've got to do something different, you're moving them a little closer. But you still don't have them over to the hot side. So let's go back and take a look at how that happens. In order to get them over to the hot side, of course, you have to do and take some steps to get them to actually sign up. Now, if you are, Julie is compelling equals a sense of urgency. Yeah, it's a sense of urgency. Good. Thank you for that. And what we need to do here is we need to figure out how are we going to get them from warm to hot. Now, again, in this particular concept, we're talking about high ticket sales, like a high ticket item through speaking, not necessarily a book or a $97 program. I mean, the process is the same, but those are much easier to sell from the stage than having somebody shell out $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000. But it can certainly be done. So here's what I see and what I've seen in all my years of out there working with speakers all over the world. I've seen that about 90% of speakers. Now, I'm not talking about established professional speakers who have been doing this for decades. I'm talking about speakers who are coaches, consultants, and experts who are looking at bringing their expertise to the platform or to the screen and monetizing it, and have been trying it and getting it wrong. And I see it time and time again when a speaker gets on the stage and they say, let me show you what I've learned. Let me teach you the solution to your problem. Let me make it entertaining for you. Let me get it exciting for you so you can be inspired and then buy my stuff, and nothing happens. So about 90% of the speakers make it to educate and entertain, and very few even make it to inspire. And then roughly 7% of speakers make it as far as disrupt and compel. Roughly 7%. Now, these aren't empirical data. I can't validate this with metrics and graphs and charts and numbers. These are my observations. So I'm thinking about 70% of speakers actually disrupt the audience's mindset, actually make me go, I haven't thought of it like that. Or they actually get me to think, okay, I need to do something different. But even at this level, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying I need to do something different with you. I need to hire you. I'm not there yet, you see. And really only about 3% of speakers who have been trained, who do it really well, who have years of experience of doing this under their belt, know how to get them signed up right there on the spot. Now, Jane and I have been working at this for years. I failed at it for decades. Then Jane came into my life and we reevaluated our business. We reevaluated how we were doing things. We even took some training from some other people who were known to be masters in this craft. And so we went out and started doing it. And this is where we started generating six figures and more in a single presentation just by following a specific formula. But the formula isn't going to work for you until you know the premise that we're talking about today. So let's complete that. Okay. Let's take a look at this grid now on yet another level. If we take a look at when these sales are generally made, it typically looks like this. The educating, entertaining, inspiring, disrupting, and even sometimes the compel can usually happen from the stage. That can happen from the stage or from the screen and a big ticket item. That means that if I educate you, if I entertain you, if I inspire you, if I disrupt your thinking, and if I get you to the point where you feel like you need to act, I can do all that on the stage with a high ticket item. But in most cases, what's required for me to get you to sign up is some sort of a sales process. And this is another huge mistake that I see speakers make. No sales process, because they think like I used to. If I can educate you, if I can entertain you, if I can inspire you, if I can disrupt your thinking, if I can compel you to act, that's all you need. Here I am, sign up my stuff. But I never had a proper sales process. I didn't know how to create an offer. I didn't know how to deliver an offer. I didn't know how to package the offer inside my talk. I didn't know how to ask for the order. I didn't have any of that knowledge. And the big problem with that is, if I didn't know how to do that, that meant that my entire presentation was constructed improperly. My entire presentation, right from the first word, was not constructed in a way that people would buy my stuff. So once I learned the process of taking people through that, and I got all of this stuff that I just showed you figured out, then we completely adjusted the way we created and developed our signature talk, and then it started to convert. Now, by the way, if you're online with us today, and I see several, quite a few of you are, if you have a question about any of this, go ahead and type it into the comments and I'll answer it if I can. And then just again, we're hearing some background noise. I don't know if you're hearing that, but we're in a bit of a construction zone today. So if you hear some background noise, that's all it is. Just ignore it. But if you've got questions, go ahead and type them in the comments. And if I can, I'll answer those for you. Okay, so those are the biggest mistakes. I mean, and there's a whole bunch of them, but those are the most common ones. So here's what I see. I see these things. I mentioned earlier, people come up to me and they say, Steve, I want to speak and I want to be paid. And they don't really understand what that means. I'm hoping if that's you, you have a little bit of concept now in terms of what that means. Selling from the stage is a legitimate form of business. It is risky, but in my judgment, not nearly as risky as spending all your time, going from hotel to hotel to hotel to hotel, earning a few $1,000s from speaking gigs that could be cut off at any time. That is way too much effort. It's way not enough money, and it's way too risky. It's way too hard on the family. It's way too hard on your health. It's way too hard on your social life. It's really not as what's the word I'm looking for? It's really not as, big and dramatic as you think it would be. But selling from the stage means this. It means you select the stages you want to be on. Yes, some of them you have to pay for. Yes, some of them you have to pay a lot for. Some of them you don't have to pay for. But if you know the sales process, and if your entire presentation is constructed in a way that not only educates, inspires, and entertains, but it also compels and it also disrupts, and you know how to do it in a way that walks them down the path towards a sale, it can absolutely change your life. That's why our program is called The Art of the 100K Signature Talk, or Mastering the 100K Signature Talk, because it is a legitimate truth that you can earn 100K in a single talk if you know how to do these things. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that. So that's the first thing I see. People want to speak. They want to be paid. Here's the next thing I see that comes up all the time. But I don't know where to find gigs. I don't know how to find speaking gigs. The reality behind that is it's that you don't know where to look. And so what we need to do is we need to talk about where to look. Okay, I'm going to answer a question here. I see something from Rob. Oh, hold on. I'm just going to see if I can put this up here. I haven't read this yet. So it says, I remember it never about me and all about them. Knowing your content so well, it comes through you. This is what you taught me. Yes, that's true. That is exactly right. So what Rob is referring to is, how do I get that? There we go. Rob's referring to is this concept that I teach people that says you need to go through your content till your content comes through you. And he talked about there, it's all about them, not about me. He's so right. Rob, you've learned well. He's so right. Just, even today, we were speaking to somebody and they say, pardon me, they say, I've got a story. I want to come and tell my story. People need to hear my story. And I want to share with them the lessons I learned from my story. And all of that is good. And they say, I want to solve this problem for them. And all of that is a noble mindset, but it's going to eliminate your sales. The job is not to solve the problem. The job is not to share your story. Although you will share your story, your job is to reveal to them a new perspective on their problem and compel them to do something about it, not to solve it. So I want to go back a little bit now, because I was mentioning that what a lot of people were saying was, I don't know how to find the gigs. Okay. So we've done something about that. So I want to share with you what we have in store for you, because the biggest challenge with selling from the stage is getting on the stage. That's the toughest part for a lot of people. So where do you find those gigs? So I want to share with you what we've got in store for you. As you know, Black Friday is coming up in a couple of days. And so we've created a Black Friday special for a very specific program that we offer. The program that we offer is called Mastering the 100K Signature Talk. And I want to walk you through some of the features of it here. And we're having a 65% off until Black Friday. That is actually a $10,000 savings. So let me show you the highlights of the program so that you have some idea of what we're talking about here. Here we go. So let me just get myself up there. There we are. Okay, the program is called Mastering the Art of the 100K, or Mastering the 100K Signature Talk. There is a Black Friday sale in effect right now that I'm going to share with you. But here's one of the things about it. First of all, we're going to demonstrate to you, we're going to walk you through this process of how you actually create that signature talk. How do you actually create the offer? How do you deliver the offer? All of those things are going to be in there. This is a done with you program. This means that yes, there are videos. Yes, there is homework. There are live calls every week, Q&A calls. But what happens in this is I follow your progress and I help you stay on track with my personal help and with Jane's personal help. So you get, it's not a one-on-one program, but you get attention from us along the way to help you stay on track. But here's what we've done to help you find speaking opportunities, whether you choose to go on the paid to speak for a fee aside, or if you choose to go to speak to sell. And if you'll notice this right here, we call it the Speaker Success Pipeline. We have a system that we've developed. And what it does essentially is it goes out there, it scours the internet, scours the environment. I think I've frozen, but I'm not sure about that. Let me just hope I haven't. Let me just try something here. Am I back? Yeah, okay. Sorry, it seemed like I'd frozen, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't. Okay, so the system we developed scours the internet for leads. It scours the internet for opportunities. It collects those opportunities and puts them in a spreadsheet and sends them to you every week. So every week you get roughly 100 speaking opportunities through this system, and they come directly into your inbox. You see? And so that's just part of what we do. The rest of what we do here is we walk you through the entire process of crafting and delivering your signature talk. So here's what this program is. I'm not going to go through the whole website. I'm just going to give you a few shots of it. But to find it, just go to stevelowell.com. In fact, I'm going to give you the website that takes you directly to this. I'll pop it in the chat window here, but some of you are not going to receive this chat because this system doesn't allow me to post for everybody. But there's the link that is going to get you there if you want to see it. And if it's not coming through for you, just go to stevelowell.com. stevelowell.com, and you'll see a big banner there. It's there. So here's what this program is. It's a proven high impact framework. Here's what that means. Part of the system is I'm going to walk you through my high impact keynote template, which was developed years ago, mastered over some decades, and has been proven all over the world to convert if it's presented properly. So I'm going to show you how to do that and walk you through that. It's a personalized, high touch, 8-week program, which means you are going to receive the content every week for 8 weeks. So you got a whole week to review and consume the content, complete the homework, hand your homework in, and I review it, and you stay on track. So you're going to get those leads and the new content every week for 8 weeks. This could be a transformational moment in your life, because this could put you in the realm of the 100K signature talk. Now, here's the promise. The promise is we're going to give you everything you need to know to create and deliver a talk that converts so that you can make a lot of money. For some people, you're going to go out there and you're going to make 100K when you speak each time, maybe once, maybe twice, who knows? Some of you, you're not. Some of you, it's going to take a little longer. You might earn 5K, 10K, 20K, 30K, and over the course of a year, generate 100K. It's different for everybody, but we have clients who have made multiple 6 figures on a single talk, many of them. We have clients who have launched their professional speaking career around the world with this system. We have clients who have generated entirely new arms, international segments to their business using this concept. We have clients who will become multimillionaires using this concept. And so all of that could happen for you. That's not a promise for you, of course, but the potential is there because others have been doing it. This is a customizable blueprint. What that means is you're going to get the template. It's got the step-by-step, parts to it, but all the content that you put in is going to be yours. It's going to be your content. You're going to develop your own unique high-impact speaking program. And so that's basically how the program works. It's all done online. All the meetings are done through Zoom. So we're going to meet like this. But a big benefit of this is I don't know where to find speaking gigs. We're going to feed you 100 leads per week. You're going to have to cultivate those leads. You're going to have to apply for the gigs and follow up, and you have to do the work. But we're going to give you 100 per week for 8 weeks. And if you do the work, and we're going to show you how to do that work, if you do that work, I don't know how you could not find speaking opportunities. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. I'm going to stick around for a couple more minutes in case there are any other questions that I can answer for you. And if there are, then great. I'll put them into the comments, and I'll answer those for you. But just to wrap things up for today, just a reminder: if you have a program to sell, if you have a coaching program to fill, an online program to market, if you've even got smaller ticket items, books, if you've got small training programs, if you've got something to sell, I want you to really consider the opportunity from selling from the stage. As you know, it is a legitimate opportunity. The barriers of entry are very low. The financial opportunity is very large if you know how to do it. That's what we do. We teach you how to do that. And if that's what you want to do, then this is where you need to be. So this program, I should tell you this program is normally $15,000. Let me get down to there for you. The program is normally $15,000 US, but for Black Friday, we are bringing it available to you for $49.97, and that is just until I think like 11:59 on Friday night, something like that. And as soon as Black Friday is over, the offer is gone. So it's a 65% savings for you, and so there you have it. Now, folks, I'm just going to stand by. I'm going to put my screen. I'll leave this screen up so you can see it. And if you want to go and check us out, go to stevelowell.com. If you have questions, I'm here for the next couple of minutes until I see no more questions on the screen, and then I will sign off. So thanks very much for joining us today. I really hope you found this of value. My name is Steve Lowell, and I'll see you next time.